What was the challenge that you were experiencing that made you want to do podcast booking and ultimately what got us talking about it?
I'm very, very busy. I have lots of clients that I'm working with on a daily basis. And I also have a lot of things I'd like to say in the world and no time to get it out and actually contact those folks. Additionally, just the time it takes to research what podcast, who should I contact, the contact information, and then the sequence and the process of just emailing consistently to get on that podcast, to get someone to answer. All of that takes time, of which I have very little. And so when I met you and we decided that this was something that would be probably interesting for me, it was a hands down easy decision to make because I knew that you book on the top 1% and top 10% of podcasts, and that is what I wanted interested in. I didn't want to have to worry about getting on some of these newer podcasts, ones that don't have as many listeners. I need to be in front of lots of people, and I didn't want to take and waste my time on some of those that are just getting up and started or maybe aren't run well. And so knowing, working with you, knowing that you're vetting most of these companies, you know who they are, you even have relationships with them and have seen success before. Super, super important for me to being efficient and effective with the effort and then having it done and saving the time of just getting it done. It was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. And how was that experience for you, just building out your page and getting things ready for you? What was that like for you?
With a lot of other, whether they be coaching programs or they be done for you services, it seems like there's actually more work to do when you sign on for the onboarding than it's done for you, but here's all these 2 weeks worth of work that you have to do to get them ready to do the thing that you would like them to do. You took all of that off my plate. Like from day one, it was one small form, one small interview that we did, and we went through, you pulled everything together, and then you just went off and did your thing. You just went off and put it together. And then you showed me this page that I literally looked at it and went, man, it's like you're in my head. And then I think we even had a conversation about this. I looked at it and went, wow, I'm kind of a big deal. Like the things that you came up with, I couldn't have said about myself quite so clearly and poignantly. And I think, just again, the process from beginning to end was super, super seamless. It saved me a ton of time in the product, meaning the landing page, and then just the process, working with your team through Slack, having the communications, the updates, the confirmations. I mean, everything was just so smooth and easy that I wish I would have done it sooner, quite honestly.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. And as far as the interviews themselves, how did that play out for you? Did you find them valuable? Were they easy? What were your thoughts there?
Spot on. I think I only had one out of, I don't know, the 20 or 30 we did in the first round that was probably not a great fit. But every single one that I did, they're all relationships of mine now. I mean, they were great podcasts. They were right in line with my topic matter. As a sales coach and sales trainer, talking about sales, these were the kinds of podcasts that their listeners were a direct hit for me. I have actually booked some business off of one of the podcasts already, which is really surprising. I didn't expect it to happen quite so soon. And the hosts were wonderful. They were generous, and it gave me a wonderful opportunity to start promoting a new program that hadn't even launched yet. So it was a great opportunity for me to start talking about that, get that into the marketplace. And as you know, podcasts have kind of a long-term sales play. They're not an immediate gratification. They're in the market for a while. You promote, you point to them, and they end up producing fruit over time. They're not an immediate hit. So with my new product, and I would say anybody who has a book that's coming out or who has a new program they're launching, don't wait till it's launched. Market and get on podcasts now and use this as a tool to help lead up and build anticipation around the launch or the new book or whatever. Because at the end of the day, it will be evergreen in the marketplace on your behalf. So whether you're doing it before you launch, while you're launching, or far after, this is IP and information and training and coaching and a feature of the information that I have to offer the marketplace forever. It's going to be out there. And again, I building some of these relationships with some of these podcast hosts has been amazing. I've got a collaboration that we're working on. I have some business that I've booked from it. I don't know, it was a complete success from my perspective, and you picked the right people, and that is the most important thing to me.
I love that. And with the relationship building, as you know, that's like a massive focus of everything that we do. How would you say that that is different than what you see other people doing, or what you maybe thought it would have been before we started working together?
Relationship building with me as a client, or relationship building with the podcasts and building my relationship with them?
The podcast host and your relationship with them.
So yes, relationships are absolutely key. And clearly you did a great job. You and your team did a great job teeing me up to these folks, because when they did get on either the pre interview or the interview, sometimes we just went straight to podcast day, recording day. They seemed to know me already. They knew what to ask. They knew how to ask. A couple of them even made references to things that they had been made privy to, whether they did their own research or it was teed up to them. They knew me, and it was really really great to not have to do that work myself, because I got the notification that I was wanted for a podcast. I booked the date. We showed up. All the follow up was obviously on their team, on the podcast team. I got that information, and everything that led up to that moment was done for me. I just showed up, and it was just, again, so efficient and so time saving and so effective that, again, I don't know why anyone would say no, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And to that person that's like kind of on the fence, thinking maybe this is for me, like, do I have that credibility? Do I have a story to tell? What would you say to them?
It's funny because I do think that we experts have this, imposter syndrome all the time. Seems the smarter we are and the more of an expert we are, the more we second guess it. It's just a disease. I wish there was one solution for it other than just working through it. But at the end of the day, we all have a story. And it wasn't, for me personally, it wasn't about, do I have a story? I was actually, what story do I want to tell? Which one do I think is going to be the most effective in the marketplace? What will lead to results the fastest? And you were amazing at helping me just delineate of all the choices, because we can all be good at a lot of things, but we might not be profitable or create a lot of revenue around everything. And so which one is going to both have commercial appeal, which one will be the most interesting and maybe unique for each of these podcast hosts who maybe have not, sales is a big topic, and everyone has talked about sales at some point. But what's the hook? What's the special sauce that I'm going to bring that's going to be unique and that is going to be more appealing to have me on, because it's maybe something they've never talked about or talked very little about. You were amazing in helping me just think through the options and then coming up with that hook that made me undeniable to be booked. I mean, I think, and I will say, of all of the interviews I did, they all commented on how unique I was positioned, which was the allure and was the hook that got me on the podcast. Because they all said, we talk about sales all the time. You had a different hook. You had a different, they didn't say hook. They said you had a different vantage point. You came at it a different direction than what we've heard before, which then fed my audience. And so having that ability to work with you one on one and not just fill out a form and then the team goes to work and I get a bunch of automations, there was real hand holding and onboarding provided by you. And for me, that was everything, and really being confident that once I got booked, that I had a topic people wanted to listen to.
I love that. And that's a big part of what we do, in our conversations and our strategy work, that frankly, it's not apples to apples with anybody else. But I love being able to showcase your unique perspective, your unique lens. And really, to your point, that's what the podcast hosts want to hear, because that's what brings value to their audience and
Yep.
give your unique story that front and center that it deserves.
And I think that ability for you to hear, that talent that you have to hear what it is, in all of the choices or all of the different ways I might be thinking about it, and I'm too close to it. I don't know what is the special sauce necessarily. I just do what I do because we as experts, that's what we do. We take it for granted, and we have no idea how special it actually is. And we have this comparison disease. Sometimes we watch other people and go, "Oh, well, I should be talking like that." No. And you were really good at reminding me to be authentic and be myself and not try to be like anybody else. Don't try to mimic. Just come with my energy, my way, kind of do you boo kind of stuff. And then when we talk about it, do it in this particular way because I think this will be unique. That counseling and coaching and just helping me decide. For me, I know what all those things are, but I have a hard time choosing which one to apply at any given juncture. So that was really, really helpful, and it worked. It clearly worked.
Thank you. I love all of that. Is there anything that we haven't already talked about that you want to share with people that are listening, or what would be helpful for them?
For those of you who are listening right now, I know you see a ton of testimonials about a lot of different things, and some of them are, yeah, that's good for them, but it might not be good for you. I'm telling you, if you are on the fence, if you're thinking about it, maybe wrestling with the idea, don't. Get a hold of Julie, get on her podcast, get her team on your side and get going. You will have podcasts, you'll have good podcasts, and you will finally once and for all have the confidence to go out in the world and go, yeah, I really have what the world needs, and these people are only affirming it. Have fun. Julie's team is fantastic. Do not hesitate. Do it, do it, do it right now. In fact, if you haven't already shut this video off to go do it, I'll be disappointed.
Thank you. I love it. All right, you heard it straight from Theresa. So connect with the team and we would be happy to get you booked on the podcast and work with you. So thank you again, Theresa. I really,
You're
really
so,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you for everything.